Thank you for tuning in to Glass Half Broken, the modern media podcast for the realist.
And we are the realist of realists.
I'm Erin.
And I am Tom.
I'm Colin.
And together, we are Wild Stallions.
That's right.
Our powers combine to form nothing at all.
Let's make other references.
Nah. Let's just sit in silence.
Yeah, in this room here. There might be a slight buzzing noise, maybe? I don't know. We don't know. We were trying to mess around.
Our shit is fucked!
It's a crappy cable.
Yeah, Tom here thinks that it might be the cable that we're using to plug the microphone into the computer or whatever.
Because I'm fucking cheap.
Yeah, he's bought just the cheapest possible cable to do so. It shouldn't be too bad, unless you're one of those weird people that doesn't like to. It's just sort of like, I can't just get you the slight buzzing.
Well, then they've already turned this off.
Then they've probably already turned it off.
Because we're talking about the buzzing too.
Right, because that's really very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to talk about. Instead of talking about that, let's talk about modern media.
Sounds good.
Do we want to talk about the elephant room? The elephant in the room?
I was going to say that new movie, The Elephant Room?
The Elephant Room, starring David Duchovny.
Why?
I'm telling you, Scully, there's an elephant in this fucking room. Why can't you see it?
What is the elephant in the room?
The Mystery Science Theater 3000 Kickstarter.
Oh my god, that is...
I didn't know that it was an elephant.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's a little...
Well,
that would be like if it were really awkward and nobody wanted to mention it. I will so mention it.
Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about this.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 is a show I think all three of us grew up with in the 90s.
Yes.
And
so who was your favorite host? Were you Joel or Mike?
I was more of a Mike person, and
yeah.
I really liked Joel, but I think Mike was brought a little bit more to it. Well, here's the thing about it is that
they both wrote.
They both
exactly.
Because like Mike Nelson was the head writer even during the Joel years, and then once Joel left, they just brought him on to be the host as well. Mike was also played other weird characters during like the host segments too. Like he was
like Torgo.
They're Torgo and Morrissey. Anytime that they would.
Oh God, that's right. I forgot he did Morrissey.
Yeah, and but it's the interesting thing though is that like I like the Mike years better, but I think that also has to do with the fact that like as the years went on, they just kept getting better and better at writing and kind of doing that. So I think like even if Joel had continued to be the host, it would still be it was just as good. But it's just he
just have different styles.
Joel
is more the laid back and
Mike is more of the everyman, and
Joel's a very Stephen Wright school of comedy.
Yeah, he's and that was great. If you ever watch his old stand up, he was a prop comic.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But the thing about him though is that
he was a good prop comic.
He was one of the very few good prop comics because he was very deadpan, and that's like prop comics are
you have to
they're not like
so zany.
Like
wow,
like Carrot Top and Gallagher and people like that. Like they're all over the top, like wow, crazy. Like when you do something as stupid as prop comedy, you like in order for it to really work, you kind of have to do it.
I thought there was some good stuff to Gallagher though. He had some good things. I don't really see him like he was definitely a prop comic, but I do remember well maybe it was just because I was a kid and I thought that I'm like ooh I'm watching an HBO special. But I thought it was funny. But yeah, if I saw it now.
Yeah, because he did do stuff that didn't involve props, but they it was. He did those weird things where he would talk about like the English language, like isn't that crazy? Like if you spell comb the same way you spell tomb, but the letters in front are different. And it's like that's right, Gallagher. That's very true, Gallagher. You are
spot on.
Yeah.
But and then he hits a watermelon with a hammer.
Yeah, and then.
The first 2 rows, you will get wet.
And it's kind of funny. There's a Penn and Teller special because they do stuff that sometimes splashes into the audience too and stuff like that. Yeah. But then like there's people actually brought like ponchos in the first like row or something like that, and Penn and Teller just started grabbing it from them. It's just like, give me those! You're making this look like Gallagher. It's pretty funny. definitely. But
I'd be interested to see like people bring like fucking hearing protection to a Penn and Teller show because they do use loud gunshots in their shows.
Oh yeah. But so anyway, Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Yeah.
Whoops.
So all right, I don't know a lot. I mean, there is a lot of information about it. I only heard about it very recently.
Yeah, apparently there was some sort of rights kerfluffle with them getting the rights to the show back or something like that.
I don't know.
They vaguely hinted at that
Yeah,
in
we
the
probably should
Kickstarter.
have researched, but I don't even. I'm not sure
All right.
what the.
So basically, it's he had said that he has invited like all the old like writers and people that worked on the show.
So they could get like Trace Bellew and Mike Nelson and everybody.
And Frank Conniff and
Yes.
other people whose names you can kind of pronounce, but then you might not be pronouncing right.
Pretty sure it's Conniff.
Conniff. Okay.
Oh my God, you're the worst MST. You're the worst Misty.
God. But so it's Joel Hodgson.
Totally writing you out of my fan fiction.
But Joel Hodgson is like the showrunner. Is going to be the showrunner, but it's going to be a new host and a new voices for Crow and Tom Servo.
Oh.
Well, Crow does change his voice every
yeah.
few years,
Yeah.
so it's
Kevin Murphy was the only one where I was like, okay, like in the first season that barely anybody watched, Tom Servo was voiced by Josh Weinstein, and then he left the show after the first season.
Now, do you mean the first season, or do you mean when they were on public access?
I would like the first season as in like
That they
like,
got picked up.
On Comedy Central. Okay.
the Comedy Channel as it was called back then.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And it was and then he left and Kevin Murphy came on in season 2 as Tom Servo, but he was Tom Servo for the rest of the show.
Yeah. I mean,
Crow was also Trace Bellew or Beaulieu.
I say Bellew.
Bellew, right? And he was also Dr. Forrester, and then he left.
Right.
So then Bill Corbett started doing the voice of Crow, and so he's had different voices, and
And then he had a completely different voice during the public access era too. That they'd like everybody to forget.
Yeah, but I think the main reason they're getting new voices, well, because you know, Bill Corbett, Kevin Murphy, and Mike Nelson all do riff tracks.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly if they're gonna want to go back to Mystery Science Theater 3000 or like.
Yeah, because they've got a pretty good thing going on with riff tracks.
Yeah, it's I mean, like, but the thing is, it's like Joel had also even mentioned that you know, everyone's invited to come back to at least do like cameos or do something else like that. So they might still do that if they want to keep up the continuity. The final episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000, the Satellite of Love crashes, and Mike and the bots just get an apartment together in Wisconsin, and they just live. And the very last shot is them, as you know, like they're free from the Foresters, and they're free from this whole nightmare or something like that, and they sit down and they start watching a bad movie together.
Because it's all they know.
Yeah, so who knows? Yeah, so who knows if they might at the very least get Mike back just to do that, just to be like, maybe like I don't know, Crow and Tom Servo get beamed back up, and then Mike just comes, hey, where'd you guys go? And then that's it. And then it's the new host and new everything. But
So
I don't think they care that much about continuity.
Yeah, no, I don't think they care as much about that as certain YouTubers and other internet critics are for continuity and storylines and deep plot threads.
Yeah, because that was the interesting thing. Like, apparently the Sci-Fi Channel wanted to do more continuous storylines with the host segments. And they were just like, you know, the host segments were just supposed to be there for just a funny little joke in between them, you know.
Well, yeah, it's like Svengoolie or Elvira.
But yeah, Sci-Fi Channel was just like, no, do more with that. And so that's why during the years with Mary Jo Pehl as Pearl Forrester and like that whole thing, like they did more, and there was like an actual like storyline between episodes of that.
Right, which I never ever watched. Because then there was the Ape Man. I don't remember what it was.
Kevin Murphy as Bobo.
Bobo.
And then Bill Corbett was Observer, the brain guy, as Pearl called And those were funny. The host segments were good. They were funny, but like they were just there. Like they would just cut to it, and it was just like a couple seconds of like, or like like a minute of just like dumb whatever, and then they just go back.
Killer.
Yeah, then they would just go back to the movie.
It's a breather from the awful movie that you're watching.
There are actually very few MST3K episodes that I can watch all the way through because sometimes the movies are just that bad. And I
Really?
think my favorite ones were the informational shorts or like
those are still
proper
amazing.
hygiene ones. Yeah, like those, and because they're not as long as a terrible hour and a half movie.
Also the springs.
Yeah, no springs.
No springs.
But once again, that information, a lot more information is probably out there, and we just don't know. We just didn't research it enough about it. But once again, it was very like last, like we just found out about this like not too long ago. So
we were like, oh my god.
So
they faxed it to us. They told us,
and,
here, talk about this. And I'm like, why am I getting a fax?
I don't even have a fax machine.
This is crazy.
This is a toilet.
So appropriate from them to receive a fax from Mystery Science Theater.
They didn't even put it in a waterproof bag.
Yeah.
It was kind of soggy.
But yeah, I'll definitely be looking out for that. I'll try to put some money into that Kickstarter. Is the Kickstarter has that even started? I don't even know that much.
I don't know.
When I checked it last night, it was at. I mean, it's probably fucking funded by now. They were looking for $2 million.
Yeah.
They were at like $1.25 million.
Yeah.
Last night when I checked.
I will check that out.
There are a ridiculous amount of MST3K fans out there in the world,
yeah.
so it's like that's not surprising. Like if you look on the internet, and most YouTubers were in some way inspired by, Mystery Science Theater 3000. Like most of the famous like YouTube reviewers and people who make fun of like bad movies and things like that. I think that's that's kind of their.
Also, the ones that take the host segment idea way too far.
Yeah, and we do that. But so we'll definitely keep an eye on that.
Yes.
Indeed, sir.
Let's see. Oh, here we go. MST3K Kickstarter. I've got very slow Wi-Fi right here.
They're
14 hours ago, it says is coming back thanks to Kickstarter. Let's see.
Yeah, I kind of figured they would get funded right away.
Yeah, that seemed like, and they said that they were like, I forget, for like almost like half a season they were looking for like $5 million or something like that, and they're like just to kind of like do because they're going whole hog with it. They're not gonna.
Yeah, I think right now they're planning 12 episodes.
Yeah, and it would be interesting to see because it's like you don't know how far back they're gonna go because like when they started getting into the later Mike episodes, they started doing movies from like the early to mid 90s, so it's like they could very well be getting movies.
Well, hell, Future War was.
They are not funded yet.
Oh,
they're not?
Oh.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah.
When I get home, I'll fund the
Yeah,
rest
this
of
is
it.
the okay. So right now, they are at
$1,400,884.
With 29 days to go.
29 days ago.
Yeah,
they'll make
be
it.
fine.
They'll make it.
They'll absolutely make it. I'll still probably throw in some money when I get home.
Yeah, like what would you want to see them do?
Like
when they come back.
Well, I mean, just like like they could possibly even get like a Lem Kabaczynski movie or like
God, that would be great.
Just do like Lem like this. I mean, and that's the thing. Like Mystery Science Theater 3000 has become so popular that like the creators of the film would probably just be throwing their movies at them, going like, "I made a shitty movie. I made a shitty movie."
Yeah.
And
as far as Len Kabaczynski, I think he would be chomping at the bit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he works with the Red Letter Media guys.
Oh
so.
yeah, totally. Like with Red Letter Media, like making fun of his stuff and talking about how bad his movies are, and then he makes an appearance on there talking about stuff, and they're like good friends. Like it's they're
working on a movie together.
Yeah, so it's like I could definitely.
But would it be better to make fun of a movie that is so hilariously bad and the filmmaker thinks that it was a masterpiece, or somebody that knows that their movie's shitty? Because I think that's what makes it really funny is that there are some movies that you could tell that like the filmmaker really thought they were making something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that whole Ed Wood kind of thing. Yeah.
Right, where it's like, this is going to be my.
I've seen it work. I've seen it work both ways though. Like Like, yeah, with Future War, that was a great episode, and I think everyone involved knew that they were making shit.
No, that was a different movie. Well, that might have been also with Future War, but there was another movie that was on MST3K, and it was like an early mid-90s movie, and when they were making the movie, they were just like, this movie is terrible, and then someone had brought up like, well, maybe we'll get put on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
That also happened with Future War.
Did it also happen?
Yeah, they were disappointed. The guys who made Future War were kind of disappointed that they didn't tear into the movie enough. They weren't vicious enough.
There was another movie that was like that was the same deal, and then like the people, like the cast, when the episode finally went up on like sci-fi channels like that, like the casting crew got together to have like a big viewing party of it and stuff like that, and it was just like, and they were so excited about it. And so it's like I could see, and that was like a big deal, like, and that was, you know, the cast and crew of like Mystery Science 3000 were like wow, they were actually like excited to see us rip into the movie.
Yeah.
And so now I think that's just what's going to happen is people are just going to be excited that their shitty movie is going to be on Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Right.
I would just really, you know, this would never happen, but to see them tear into like the fucking Fantastic Four reboot. Or something like that.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
love that.
at that point, that's
probably
tracks.
never going to happen.
I mean,
but
that's true. That's riff tracks.
Yeah, but I mean,
what they do.
to see that in an actual episode, the rights nightmare for that would be,
yeah. But you know, I mean, that might actually, you know, that they might already be working on, like, even though like the Fantastic Four reboot is not on DVD or Blu-ray yet. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure, you know, Mike, Bill, and Kevin from Riff Tracks are probably just going like, all right, once that comes out, that is going to be the next thing we do. Like,
yeah, because I know they kind of pared down their output rather at Riff Tracks, right? I think they're only doing like 2 a year now, something like that.
I don't know. Well, I think the thing was though, they were actually talking about making a Riff Tracks show. Oh,
that's right. Yeah.
So they're probably like working on other shit. So I think that's even another thing that's just like, all right, they might be just competing with Mystery Science Theater 3000, oddly enough.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was the thing about Riff Tracks is they were more for like the blockbuster, like, you know, big Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
And then MST3K was always the more obscure.
And they
movies.
even did ones for good movies.
Oh yeah.
Well, I saw it was 2 Halloweens ago now actually. We went to the theater and saw Riff Tracks Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And that was,
man.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that one. And that's I do like seeing Riff Tracks because they're making fun of movies that I've actually seen and I've.
Oh yeah, and like you know what's going to happen next, and so and then there are times where you're thinking like, oh, I wonder what they're going to say about this.
But, yeah.
So there's definitely a lot of fun to that. And like that's my main, because Joel had said that he's going to be hiring new writers and he's trying to mix as much of like the old and the new as possible. The thing about it, like, Mike, Bill, and Kevin were a huge part of Mystery Science Theater 3000. That I'm just sort of like, with them gone, you know, like with, you know, because Joel and a bunch of other people from some other MST3K alumni did Cinematic Titanic, which is kind of like Riff Tracks, but only they also continued on with doing more obscure, like, shitty movies and stuff like that.
I think they also focused more on doing live shows, right?
Yeah, there were some videos of them, like, just regular, like, pre-recorded videos online.
Okay.
Of that, but they focused more on doing the live shows and things like that. And it was good, but like it wasn't as good. Like, you're watching Riff Tracks, it feels like you're watching Mystery Science Theater 3000 with big Hollywood movies. With Cinematic Titanic, it felt a little, almost like it was like toned down. Like it wasn't quite as good. And so I'm just thinking like I do feel like Mike and, you know, Kevin and them were like a bit like, you know, once again, like Mike was the head writer for the entire run of the show, pretty much. Yeah. So it's like, I think he had a lot to do with the success and humor of the show, and you know, plus with Kevin and Bill, it almost feels like we're, if you mix those two, if you don't mix those together and you have these two separate things with like Riff Tracks, Mystery Science Theater 3000, like is Mystery Science Theater 3000 going to get to that level without Mike and them? And you know, it's like, I think they'll do fine, especially if they're going to get some new writers, especially if you're going to get, you know, new writers that were huge fans of the original show. You know, they're going to be people that are going to know what to do and what to say. And but yeah, with that, it's weird to think that there was always that controversy of like, and like, oh, Joel's leaving, now Mike's taking over. When really it's like, Mike was there the entire time.
Yeah.
And he might have been the glue holding the show together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to think about. I don't know. I think it ultimately all depends on who they get.
Yeah. And that's yeah.
I don't think they really hinted at who they were going to try to get, but
and I wonder if there's any, because what some people don't, like Joel Hodgson and Paul Feig are good friends, and Joel Hodgson.
Oh, really?
Joel Hodgson has done a bunch of stuff with him. Both of them like worked on because Paul Feig created Freaks and Geeks, and Joel Hodgson worked on that show.
Oh yeah.
And
I forgot he worked on that show.
Yeah, and then they did a like a comedy sci-fi like miniseries together. Joel Hodgson and Paul Feig.
Joel Hodgson was on Freaks and Geeks.
He was on. And
God, how many years ago was that show?
It was like about 15. It was about. I don't say it was like 90.
Damn.
I think it started in either 99 or 2000.
God.
Very, very late 90s.
It's where Seth Rogen and James Franco got their start.
That's right.
And Jason Segel and.
Oh yeah. I forgot Jason Segel.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I wonder.
It's gonna be weird going back to trying to watch that.
Yeah, so many big stars in there now. So yeah.
So anyway, speaking of movies as well, Kyle and I were just talking about this before, that Shia LaBeouf is doing this performance art piece. Have you heard about that? If he's watching
I have not watched any of that
movies.
stream, but I've seen enough GIFs of him. It's like oddly heartwarming.
I used to be very annoyed by Shia LaBeouf, which is what LaBeouf translates to. Is actually it's because his name Shia is like praise God or thank God, and it's LaBeouf is beef, so thank God for the beef. so I used to not like thank God for the beef, but I think he's one of the few like actors that have become performance artists in this era. I don't think too many other people could really get away with what he does and being as fucking weird as he is. And because like what he had that one performance art about where he would sit in a room and people would come in and just do things to him or say shit to him, and he couldn't react or something, or like you don't hear about people doing stuff like that. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of artists that do that, but any mainstream actors doing stuff like that. And I think I don't know, I'm interested now in his weirdness, I guess. Yeah, like it is oddly heartwarming. It's like he was like crying at one of his movies, and it's like, oh,
Transformers.
Yes.
It's like, well, yeah, mine was like in this shitty movie.
It's like when you see the parts where he's watching Transformers and he's just like this dour fucking expression on his face.
Well, that was money. Oh yeah, he was in that really bad Indiana Jones one, right?
Yeah.
That was the
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
The one where they turned it into a children's movie.
Whee! It's the Goonies. But I just think it's it's interesting. Actually, I was I checked on the live stream, as you would, in the middle of the night. Yeah. I was having a hard time going to sleep. I'm like, what's Shia LaBeouf doing right now? And he was struggling to stay awake during a movie. And, but then I wonder, like, obviously they have to deal with, bathroom breaks and eating. And I mean, so he's going to go through 72 hours straight of, like, watching these movies? Or I
don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
This is day 2 as we're recording this now.
I'm gonna guess that there's probably gonna be bathroom breaks. There's probably gonna be like different.
There's gotta be
something like that, and he'll just have a
unless
sign.
He's gonna just like shit his pants, and that's part of the art. Like how dirty and disgusting can I?
Although the camera hasn't panned down at all yet, there may be a bucket.
There could be.
Could be like on a toilet.
Yeah, he could be sitting right on a bucket. They don't show the seat of that theater seat that he's in.
Well, that's very true. And they're just a bunch of
he could be suffering for his art.
Right. Well, as you should.
But yeah, I think...
Oh, that's the sub pump. If that's gonna come up... Oh, yeah,
and
that's
it's over.
it. Yeah,
yeah,
there
totally
we go.
Did.
So
we apologize.
If you hear that little pop, yeah, we're in my basement.
So, anyway.
Anyway, but
speaking of bathroom breaks, I think I do need to use the bathroom. So if you guys want to just keep talking, or I can pause.
I don't know. Well, I was going to talk a bit about Fallout.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
The video game.
I'll be right back.
Okay,
all right,
fine then.
You go ahead.
we permit you to excuse yourself.
All right, thank you.
All right. So, Fallout 4 came out about 2 days ago, and I have put in about a good 10.5 hours into it.
How much of that was creating your character?
Not that much, because I don't know. She looks fine. I didn't really mess around with it because the default character looks alright. I fixed I just messed around a little bit. I saw what
just fucked up her face a little bit.
A little bit. I don't know. I made her look presentable. Anyway, Fallout 4. I am playing on the PlayStation 4. I've heard around the bend that the console versions are kind of busted, but in the 10.5 hours that I played, I have not found anything that's noteworthy.
When I was looking at glitches from the game last night, and so far it seems like it's on the level of what's a good comparison? Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption.
I love that's awesome.
If we want to go back to the glitches from that game, holy shit, there are flying bears in this game.
Yeah. That's awesome. If those are the glitches, then if you were to tell me all right, the PC version doesn't really have any glitches, but PS4 version has all these glitches, but it's fucking flying bears and a bunch of crazy shit like that, I'd be I'm gonna play the PS4 version.
No, the flying bears are cross-platform, and it's not I don't know if anyone listening has played Red Dead Redemption, but there's kind of a beautiful glitch in that game where it would spawn a creature into the world, say a bird, but it wouldn't use the model of a bird. It would use the model of a townsperson. So they would map all the vertices to a fucking human being. They'd be flapping their arms around and shit. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
They never fixed it.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't either if I was Rockstar. I'd be no, these are awesome. These are great. We're gonna keep these in.
God, but yeah, the whole just flying. They're more hover bears than flying bears.
But anyway, Fallout 4. I really like it. I'm way into it. I loved Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and even back I played a lot of Fallout 1 and 2. And this game, it's interesting because it starts before the apocalypse. It starts off and you're just because you can choose between there's basically a couple. And they have a newborn baby, and you can either play as the dad or the mom. And then if you choose, I chose the woman, and it's basically her. The apocalypse happens. They go into the vault, and then from there they're cryogenically frozen for 200 years. So she comes out. Her husband is dead, and her son has been kidnapped. So it's basically your goal at the very beginning of the game is basically find your son. And that's it. So you have this.
And then you inevitably get distracted by all the billion things you can do on the side.
There are a billion of other things that
happen. I don't really need to find my kid that bad. Yeah. I'm gonna build a base.
Yeah. So basically, that's the biggest change is basically you get a settlement. I believe you get multiple settlements. I don't know. I only have one, but I think you get other ones too. And you can kind of just craft stuff and build up your settlement and and it's mainly all about they kind of output different materials and things to you, so it is worth the time to kind of go in there and you can craft stuff and make people happy, but you make sure they get purified water, and you can just kind of fix up the little town here.
Okay.
It's kind of with I forget what it was called, but Level 5 did this with the Dark Cloud and White Knight Chronicles games, where you make your own town. And then, and then you build up. As you build up your town, they get more stuff, and then you'll get more stuff. So that's basically that. It's really cool. It's really fun. That's really addicting. And you can kind of Minecraft that stuff. And that's what makes the junk and scavenging so important, because you're basically getting all this junk, and then that's being turned into materials that you use to make stuff in your town. So
all the 11 billion spoons that you collect over the course of playing
totally.
a Bethesda RPG are actually going to be fucking useful for
in Fallout 3 and like in New Vegas, like it was basically you got junk at the very beginning of the game if you needed money. So you'd just be like, I'm gonna take all these tin cans and stuff like that and just get just a little bit of money, and then you never touched them again unless you had the junk gun that fires junk. Here's the fun part. I actually just found that gun in Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
It's just lying around. In Fallout 3, it was like an event. It was like you had to build that. You had to get all these materials together to build this gun that fired garbage.
Well, I mean, it's a sequel escalation.
Oh yeah, and so then in Fallout 4,
I have to have you build up to something else.
Yeah,
like, I'm assuming the flying power armor
or something like that. Yeah, and that's another interesting thing is that the power armor is not a. Like, yeah, you get the power armor in any of the previous Fallout games, you win. That's it. It's just like nothing can kill you. Here, you actually have to power this up using fusion cores and stuff like that. And it's just like, and you actually like there's a lot more maintenance and a lot of upkeep, so you can't just like slap on some.
They want to make it less of an instant win button.
Oh yeah, totally. And so I found myself actually like scavenging and like going around and like it. I think that's kind of cool that they actually like are just like, oh, you need to keep scavenging and stuff like that while at the same time not dying by everything in the wasteland.
Yeah, they made the death claws look fucking mean in this game.
I fought one and killed one already, because that's when they introduced the power armor. It's like, oh shit, death claw, and you're like, and you're just like running backwards and shooting, and like you get a minigun at that point, and you're on like a rooftop, so you think like, oh okay, I'm just gonna like shoot at it from the rooftop. But before that, you had to fight off a bunch of raiders, so I ran out of ammo before the death claw came, or
so you wind up punching it to death?
No, I mean, yeah, I just had a whole shit ton of ammo and stim packs, and I was just like, I guess this is happening. Like, and I just jumped down and just started, taking pot shots at it, and then just healing when I could. And it was intense. I was just like, yeah, that was awesome. Like, and there are moments that like I didn't have in other Fallout games, like when you use VATS, which VATS is you basically in the previous games in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you stop time and then you're able to aim at different body parts. Here they only slow down time. Like the battle's still going on, but it just slows down.
So they made it more actiony.
Yeah. So
this one.
It's so yeah, and there are a ton of different little things like in order like this is a tiny little thing, but this has actually been nice and it speeds up the game a little bit. When you look into containers, like in previous games, you like open up the container. What's in the container? Nothing good. All right, exit the container. Here, you just look at it, and it tells you exactly what's in it, and you can just hit buttons to like just take what you want, and it's super quick.
So I forget where I forget if that originated in System Shock or one of the BioShock games. When you look at the container and you're like, all right, this is what's in here.
Yeah, and
you just very quickly loot things. Not that was a very loot-centric game.
Oh no, yeah. Whereas in this game, this is a very, very, very loot-centric game.
Yeah.
Thus far it was really quick. It's been challenging. It hasn't been like I'm playing on the normal difficulty, and it's been challenging, but it hasn't been like I haven't died yet. And like even when I was fighting the Deathclaw, it's really interesting. I want to say the world is a little smaller because I went from one side, like almost one side of the map to the other, and it didn't take me that long to do.
Oh, so you're playing it like that already?
Yeah,
I'm trying to film the world.
And with Fallout 3, like it was a journey, it was a trek to go from one place to another in there, and like they would put a place on your map like, oh, maybe you ought to check out this area, and then you look at your map and you're like, I'm not fucking walking that distance, and here like it was from the very beginning they say like, well, you want to check out Diamond City, and that's like all the way to the other side of the fucking map, and then I'm just looking at that, I go this was like last night, and I was just like, all right, I'm going to see if in this play session I can make it to Diamond City. I don't think it's going to happen. Within minutes, I was already in Diamond City. I was like, oh, wait. I looked at the map and I'm like, I traveled a great distance in like not that amount of, not that long.
I'm almost wondering if by you saying that it's pretty easy to traverse around, if they're going to pull a Far Cry 2 or something like that, and have a whole second map.
I don't know.
Or something like that.
Maybe, but or maybe I'm just maybe I just have a weird concept of time,
or because you play these games so fucking much.
Maybe it is the same size. The other interesting thing is that it takes place in the Commonwealth, which is the Commonwealth is a place that I mean it's Boston.
Oh yeah,
but in Fallout 3 and I think a little bit of more in Fallout 3, but I think they mentioned it in New Vegas. They talk about the Commonwealth a lot. There are multiple people that say they came from the Commonwealth, and I was like, well, I'm from the Commonwealth, and like other things like that, and at one point I was thinking to myself like, in playing Fallout 3, like, oh, am I gonna go to the Commonwealth? Like they keep talking about the Commonwealth. I think, well, the Commonwealth, and then he never went there, and now you're there, and it's Boston.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any? Are there any NPCs with like really thick Boston accents?
No. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, they're Bethesda voice actors, so it's just like
it's the same three people over and over again.
It's the same three people over and over again. Yeah. No, say so. The one thing that I kind of not a huge fan of, it's fine, but the leveling system is different. It's so basically the way it used to be was that like you start off the game, you put points into your stats and your abilities, and there's 7 stats that all spell out special. And so it's strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck. And then each of those will affect the different abilities you have, and like lock picking, sneaking, speech, things like that. And then you just the more points, and then you'd be able to tag like 3 of those abilities that you're more efficient in, and then those numbers will be bigger than the other numbers, basically. And
that's generally how RPG systems work. Bigger numbers are better.
Here,
unless it's armor class in D&D 2nd edition.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom.
All right, continue.
But here, like you choose your stats, and you put your points into the special stats, and then from there they're like, okay, we're done, and I'm like, wait, I didn't put any points into the skills, or like I didn't tag anything, I didn't do anything. In fact, I actually went back and looked at all of the different stuff. Like, are you satisfied with this character? And I'm like, I must have missed something. So I went back and I'm just sort of like, and then I realized like, oh, do you not tag skills in this game or something like that? And no, you don't tag skills in this game.
So they make it more like Skyrim.
It's very streamlined.
Okay.
Which basically, and here's the thing: in every 4 levels in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you get a perk, and then that perk can be anything from like do more damage with this type of gun, or like you find more money in containers, or like little every little thing. And here, you get a perk every single level. But the thing is that you could either take one of the perks, or you can increase one of the stats. And because and there are different and so then each of the different perks are aligned with each of the different stats. So there is a list of all of the strength perks, and so it'll be like, all right, you need to be in order to get this one, you need to be at strength, level 4, strength level 5, and then like there are the perception perks, and so then they'll give you a list there. So and then each of those perks have different levels. So you basically every level you get a perk. And you can either pump up one of the special stats or increase one of the perks, and it's like it definitely, like in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, with the original way of putting points into individual abilities, you could fine tune your character in kind of in different ways. So
right.
So you're able to have this very fine-tuned little. You can just make little tweaks here and there, and say, like, I'm going to put a couple little points in big guns, and then put a little, a few in lock picking or something like that. Here it's just sort of like, do you want to be good at lock picking? Yes, you're good at lock picking. Okay, thumbs up. Like, all right, it's like it's basically like those are just perks, basically. Like
right.
Everything has become a perk.
Okay.
So it's just like get better at lock picking. That's the get better at lockpicking perk.
So your character essentially starts out as kind of like a jack of all trades, master of none sort of character.
Yes.
And then you fine tune them from there.
Yeah, which once again, like that's an interesting way to do that, and that's good. I think I still might prefer the older way to do that, because once again, me being a diehard Fallout nerd.
Yeah.
It might just be like that's what I'm used to is having just fine tune and like like all these little numbers and like and manage that and yeah, I mean that's probably better for a lot of people that they don't have to do that, where you can just be like, all right. But it was weird like going into the level up screen and being and just looking at the screen for only like maybe like 2 minutes and then like choosing my perk and then leaving. And then like I'm just sort of like where I'm used to being like a 10 like all right, yeah, I leveled up and then I put the controller down and I'm like, all right, crack my knuckles, be like, all right, level up screen, here we go. And then
you're anticipating that Sophie's choice.
Oh yeah.
Every time you gain a level.
Yeah, and then like and then if it's been 4 levels and I get another perk, I have to like look through each individual perk to be like, all right,
I did the exact same thing.
All right, I have to this has to last me 4 more levels. So I have to make sure this perk counts.
You know, I mean, I'm already kind of planning out what I would do in this system. Just I would almost want to make like a luck character.
And luck is really
start out with, because luck always has weird shit happening when you.
Oh yeah, and that's
when you have high luck values.
That's where bloody mess is. That's where like, a bunch of stuff is. And that's what's kind of interesting is that you can say like, all right, I really want this perk, but I need one more in the charisma stat or something like that. Then you just be like, all right, well I'll use this level to just bump up my charisma and sort of that. But at the same time, like I could see people breaking this like right in half, like this system.
Well, I mean, everybody broke Fallout 3, and
very true.
I forget how breakable New Vegas was. I'm assuming it was breakable because it's a Bethesda RPG.
All right. So the one last thing, I'll probably talk about Fallout 4 and other ones. I'll try not to bore everybody with it, but one thing I do like that they've gotten rid of is there's no morality.
Yeah, I heard about that. It's all tied to your companions now, right?
Oh yeah, it's basically
if they approve or disapprove of what you're doing.
Yeah, it's BioWare. It's basically the BioWare type of thing, and then also the happiness of your settlements too. And
right.
Usually, all you have to do is just give them shit. Just be like, here's food and water and power for your houses. And
you just have to make it rain every once in a while.
Yeah, and and that's actually an interesting thing they added is acid rain. So if it starts if it starts raining,
I'm into that.
If it starts raining and the sky is green, you're just gonna start getting rads like radioactive poisoning.
Right.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting. It was kind of annoying, but at first when the first happened.
So I mean, by that account, it sounds like they added a little bit of survival mode from New Vegas into the main game.
Oh, actually, yeah. Here's the thing. Healing items have weight now.
Oh fuck! God damn it!
Not a lot. They're very 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 light, but there is and then like but ammo is still weightless.
Oh, okay.
There's ammo is weightless.
Well, I mean that's basically. I mean I'm saying like oh shit that's gonna be a pain in the ass, but that was what they did in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like all your potions have weight.
Oh yeah, totally. And but the thing is it's like with scavenging and like customizing and crafting and like you can do weapon mods and there's like and armor mods and all these different things, and there's like you crafting with all the different junk, and even if you want to use the junk gun, you gotta have junk and stuff like that.
Right.
The strength stat, which affects how much you can carry, is like essential. It's like that's almost like required to kind of pump that up a little bit.
Okay.
Because I try to go with a little bit of a lower strength stat because with the build I was trying to make, but then after a while I was just like I have to put some points into strength. This is like I'm having to like constantly.
I almost wonder if they did that because. You have this emphasis in Fallout on guns.
Yeah.
In previous games, and maybe they felt strength was kind of a neglected stat prior to that.
Yeah, because I would make sure I had an alright strength stat because it's like I want to carry shit.
Right.
But yeah.
But yeah, if they're gonna make you schlep around all your stim packs, like have all those have weight.
But once again, they're so light that it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah. And I'll say like there's a like. Continuity or fiction-wise, it's the one thing that is kind of weird and off-putting is the fact that like you are this like since I'm playing as the wife, it's like you were this kind of goody housewife, and then like all of a sudden like oh it's the apocalypse and you're in the vault and then you immediately get cryogenically frozen and then you wake up and then it's just like to you that just kind of happened later that day.
Yeah.
So you went from like just like hi honey welcome home to then all of a sudden you're in this giant wasteland and within minutes I'm talking to people and just like you mind going and killing those ghouls for me and you're like okay yeah I'll do that and she's just not really I mean yeah it takes her very a very short period of time for her to be kind of used to like, oh, it's a horrible, hellish wasteland now. Oh, the world ended. All right, and you know.
See, the headcanon I'm forming right now is that she's just running on pure fucking adrenaline.
Yes. But and then there's also that like mom strength of like she wants to find her son.
Yeah.
And son's name is Sean, spelled Shaun.
Oh God! So is there going to be a press X to Sean moment?
Yeah, and there was
later on.
There was at one point where I think I like where it's just like she's the baby's being taken from her. Or like the baby is being kidnapped or something like that, and I could just imagine like Sean. But at the same time, but whatever.
That was a Heavy Rain reference.
But it's Fallout 4 is very good. It's more Fallout, but and at the same time like they really streamlined like a few things. They've changed a few things. They've taken some stuff out. They've added some cool stuff. Like they didn't reinvent Fallout, I think the way that some people wanted, but like I love Fallout, especially Fallout 3 and New Vegas.
You love Fallout unconditionally.
Well, I'm not unconditionally.
It's your baby.
But like I do like that. Also, there have been like one thing that that people like complain about with VATS was that like it's just aim for the head and that's it. Here it's like aiming for the head is almost not like the percentage that you'll hit somebody in the head is fairly low, and they're
so you need a really good perception to make headshots.
Consistently make headshots or get closer. And there have been times because like one of the things that they always said like when Fallout 3 came out was just like, oh, sometimes you're gonna want to shoot the legs out and they'll fall over and so that like nobody fucking did that.
Yeah.
But here like I almost like had to do it because there was like ghouls running at me. And I was just sort of like, well, let me do the thing that they want you to do during this situation. So I shot out the legs, and they fell over, and I was able to shoot them in the head. And I'm like, holy fuck! I actually did the thing that they wanted Fallout 3 to be. And so I started actually using VATS the way that they had intended, and I was just like, well, good on you, Bethesda. But yeah, I can, yeah. Thus far, my only complaint, and it's not really a complaint, is that the leveling system is. Yeah, is a little weird. It's a little almost like it's. I don't think it's not dumbed down, but it's like it's
streamlined.
It's streamlined, but yeah. So yeah.
But yeah, they're applying things that they learned in Skyrim to this game, which is not very surprising.
Oh yeah.
It sounds like.
And so yeah, it's really good. Oh, you can also do a thing where it's like the load screens where it have like just like something like it'll just be like a model of something that you can.
Yeah,
rotate.
it'll be like a rad scorpion or something, and
So
you can rotate it around.
So that's. From Skyrim.
They seem fairly long on consoles. Like on this one video I was watching, it was like 30 seconds.
Oh yeah,
load.
It's inconsistent because sometimes the load times are really good and sometimes they're not. So it's
yeah.
like it's inconsistent. All right. Anyway, that's Fallout chat.
Fallout chat. I'm definitely going when I get a better PC. I'm going to be getting that on PC and modding the shit out of that game because that's what you do with Bethesda games on PC.
There's gonna be a Macho Man, like maybe like Deathclaw Macho Man. Maybe.
You know it's going to happen.
Something like that.
Or Hulk Hogan.
Something like that, yeah. Anyway, that's Fallout 4, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about it later once I get more into it. Erin's back.
Yeah.
She's been returned for a while.
Yeah, I have. And I was gonna laugh at one part, and I was in my mind. I'm like, I didn't announce my return, so I was like. Like 10 minutes go by of just me not talking, and then
You can laugh, it's fine.
I didn't want to startle anyone.
Oh, yeah. I guess maybe we should have, like, when she sat down, we should have probably said, like,
hi, Erin.
Hi, Erin. How you doing? Anyway, Fallout. Fuck, dude. Yeah. Yeah, thus far, I'll say thus far the story in Fallout 4, I haven't been playing that long, has been better than Metal Gear Solid 5.
Which doesn't have a story?
Which kind of doesn't have a story. I still really like Metal Gear Solid 5. I haven't finished it yet. I don't know.
We broke that streak right there. We went one whole podcast without one of us talking about Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh, well, whatever. But I'm just saying.
That's true. That's been a couple of couple episodes back now.
I'm just saying that like I think like overall, I think Fallout 4 is a more interesting package than Metal Gear Solid 5. So Metal Gear Solid 5 is a really good game.
You like Fallout 4's package?
I like Fallout 4's package.
All right.
That's right.
We went there.
Yeah, I didn't check. I don't know if there's any like celebrity voices in Fallout 4, like there was in the previous games.
Maybe they decided not to throw away money on celebrity voice acting.
That would be a smart move.
Hey, Patrick Stewart, would you like to come in and do 3 really poorly acted lines for us? We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, New Vegas was insane. Like they had like Matthew Perry, they had Danny Trejo, they had Wayne Newton, they had like Dave Foley, they had.
I don't think any of those guys are going to be asking for a shitload of money though.
But at the same time, like
none of those guys are asking for Liam Neeson or Patrick Stewart money.
Yeah, very true. But at the same time, like that's still like those minor celebrities add up.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk shit about Dave Foley because I don't consider him a minor celebrity in my heart because I love Dave Foley.
He's a mega superstar in your mind.
And Dave Foley was amazing in New Vegas because he was the voice of the Yes Man.
Yeah.
The robot that was just sort of like that would just be like I forget what some of the lines, but he would just be like because he was Mr. House's robot that was supposed to protect like his like office or something like that, but then he would but he forgot Mr. House forgot to have him like actually protect like he's a yes man into everybody, so you would just walk up to him and be like, can I go into his secret office? Be like, you sure can. He's like you know I realized Mr. House didn't exactly utilize my abilities to their
fullest extent.
Yeah, so and so he would like go and be like, oh well, here you go, and like, and then eventually like you actually had to like recruit the Yes Man to like try and take over like different computer systems.
Yeah,
and like Dave Foley is fantastic in that role.
They might have saved some money on Matthew Perry because he was already like a huge Fallout fan.
He was a huge Fallout fan.
By the time they talked to him about being in that game.
Oh yeah, and so yeah, he was really a huge fan of Fallout 3. So I think he might have gone to them and be like, "Can I be in the next Fallout game?"
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, Courtney Cox used to work for Bethesda. So there might have been like
a friend's connection.
Yeah, like a connection there or something.
Oh, I see what you did there.
No.
Oh.
That's what I'm here for.
Where's a fork? I didn't jab it in my eye.
But
and this is not my eye.
But Courtney Cox actually threw a part like she actually the rap party for like Fallout 3. She coordinated it.
Was she the MC?
I don't know, but like
I'm just imagining that in my head.
She just threw a big party for all of her former Bethesda buddies for Fallout 3, and who knows, that might be how Matthew Perry got into it. One of his friends.
See, he's doing it too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. He did twice. Tried to correct himself and did it again.
But I have no idea. I've actually tried to look up. I'm just like, because that's like a weird bit of trivia. You're like, Courtney Cox used to work for Bethesda Studios. I'm like, what the fuck did she do? Was she a programmer?
And how do you know this and why?
It's like apparently it was like back in like the '80s, like when they were making like little like NES games. And
right around the time when she got pulled up on stage by
Bruce Springsteen, something like that. So she might have just been like a receptionist or like I'm not trying to be sexist or anything like that. But I'm just like I don't think Courtney Cox
the immediate backpedal.
I'm just saying, like, I don't see her being like a programmer, and I don't think she's an artist or anything.
We don't know.
How do you know she can't pull out some sick shit in Blender? She could be the one responsible for the death clause.
Let's get her on the phone.
Yeah, and but at the time, Bethesda was making like the fucking like Home Alone games for the NES.
Oh god! Oh my god, that was them! I fucking forgot.
Yeah,
Jesus.
So she might have
Oh, those were so bad.
I would love to get several clips in a row of you realizing something of God. Oh my God, really?
Oh.
God. Just loop that.
I don't think you understand how bad the Home Alone games were.
Oh no, she knows. We played the Home Alone games.
God, those are.
We didn't have them, but I want to say.
I had them.
We didn't even rent them. We borrowed them from like people that we knew, and we were just like, we like Home Alone, and we played like, this is terrible.
I had that shitty game for Christmas.
Yeah.
That was.
We got the movie for Christmas. We had the VHS. At
least that was not the.
Yeah, we were big into the first two movies.
That's not the only video game I got that year. So.
Yeah. But Bethesda. Before they did Elder Scrolls and Fallout and all those huge mega blockbuster games, like they were making shitty NES games.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You gotta start somewhere.
well, Blizzard started out with what was their like Rock and Roll Racing or something like that. Or,
Yeah, and then DMA did, like DMA design. Like, I'm not saying this is not a bad game. Or
No,
anything
no.
like that,
I mean,
but,
the guys who make Grand Theft Auto started out making Lemmings.
Which they made Lemmings, and then they're all like, let's make a game where you steal cars and murder people, and they're like, on board? I'm like, yes.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s. So that's always an interesting thing. They haven't revisited Lemmings since. They've just been like, no, we've got to continue with this murder train.
Even though Lemmings was also a murder train, it was just a cute and adorable murder train.
That's true. Yeah, you just let them just jump off the sides of the different
Just
cliffs.
That's a suicide
Have
train.
one of them kamikaze into all the rest.
Yeah.
Because that's not a real thing, right? That lemmings don't actually.
No,
do
they
that.
don't. In
that
fact,
was
that was
Yeah, that was
Disney
documentary.
Yeah, Disney documentary, and they actually
they like chased them
They're
off
like
a fucking
pushing them
cliff.
off.
yeah, they were like, yeah.
Like,
So-
thanks, Walt.
Right.
You fucking asshole. He
Walt Disney was kind of a prick.
was a giant
yeah.
prick.
Yeah.
It was actually
He
because
was a Nazi sympathizer.
well, yeah, and it was actually he didn't allow Jews to work at Disney, so it's like Jewish people actually started working after he died
Yeah.
at Disney. And I think it was just like black people weren't allowed into Disneyland until he died.
Yeah.
Or something like that. That might not be true. But I actually want to say that might have been true.
Well, it was probably also because of
mean,
the era,
yeah, they might have been the era.
It
This
just
is
could have been
the 60s.
Yeah,
too.
right. It's just
Oh, yeah,
segregation is probably what.
The 60s
Just
in
happened,
Florida, I'm sure, were
yeah.
not a good place.
Probably not. It's. I mean.
Well, it's Disney World. Disney
Oh, that's
Florida,
right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? It's interesting. I just found out recently. In fact, like within like the past like maybe a couple weeks, that apparently Disney. I always knew that Disney World was bigger than Disneyland, but like there's shit in Disneyland that's not in Disney World.
Yeah, they keep it weirdly asymmetrical. So
Oh.
you have to visit both parks.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just like Disney. I thought like Disney World was like the director's cut of Disneyland, where it's just like it's everything that that Disneyland has, and then a bunch of other shit too. I had no idea that there was just like
Disneyland has like California Adventure, and I've never been to Disneyland, but
I've been to
Yes.
both.
which do you like better?
I don't remember because I was like tiny.
I've never been to either.
I was a miniature human when I visited those. So,
But yeah, it was just kind of weird that I think it was because there was somebody like on one of the like videos I like follow, like somebody was talking about like I want to say like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that, and then like there was like they were saying that I went to Disney World and you're like but I miss the Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that like I don't and then I was just thinking to myself like do they not have aren't they at both or like that? And I
That's what I thought.
or it might not have been it might have been some other attraction that he was talking about. So that's just off the top of my I don't know
well,
Disney
I think off the top of
attractions.
my head, I think like It's a Small World. I think that's only one of them.
Oh yeah.
I think that's at Disneyland because I've
Yeah.
been to Disney World and I was on Pirates of the Caribbean, but that was
Okay.
before they did all the movies.
So
And they put Johnny Depp in the ride,
but I
He sits
which is
next
kind of
to you.
weird.
but so
I'll
yeah
sit
so,
next to Johnny Depp in a ride.
so
I'd sit on Johnny Depp's ride.
but
Oh.
so it probably wasn't that. It was probably some other attraction they were talking about. I don't remember what the fuck they were. It was such an odd, it was a video game. Like they were talking about video games and then they started talking about Disney World for like a minute and then
Hey, like what we just did.
Yeah.
and then I was just sort of like, do they not have the same attractions? And I actually just looked up. I just looked up. I think I typed into Google it's like, are Disneyland and Disney World not the same fucking thing, or something like that, or something to that effect, and
I I would be really interested to see that come up as and then it auto finishes it. Is Disney World and Disneyland? Did you mean not the same fucking thing?
and then the first result is no, they're not.
No, you goddamn idiot.
It's like one of those autocompletes that you wish you could unsee.
Yeah.
Like when you type "why won't" into Google and you let autocomplete take its course.
Yeah. But or like when you type in something and then just like the autocomplete is just Rule 34 at the end. It's just like
it's the two theme parks going at it.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I know very
we may
little
be losing
about,
steam.
God,
I know very little about Disney.
This could be tangentially related to Disney.
What?
Because we have enough time for me to go on about Undertale.
What is that?
Oh yeah, Undertale.
Undertale is potentially my game of the year, depending on how much I wind up liking Fallout 4.
Okay.
It is a game from Toby Fox,
Who's Toby Fox?
Who is known on the interwebs for doing music for the Homestuck series of webcomics and Flash animations.
And he made an entire game.
And he made an entire video game. Out of music. It's actually no visuals. It's just no. Yeah, he did a Kickstarter a couple of years ago, and lo and behold, they actually finished their game, and it's really fucking great. They combine like old JRPGs, like SNES era JRPGs, like Earthbound, like specifically Earthbound, and a couple other like semi-obscure ones like Live Alive or however the hell you say the title of that game.
I've never even heard of that.
And it's a JRPG. You wander around, you talk to people, but the battles are basically bullet hell.
Huh? Weird.
It's bullet hell segments combined with dialogue, like actions. Like you have to talk to the monsters, and you kind of have to talk them down.
Kind of like Shin Megami Tensei style, like.
Yeah. Yes. Totally. But not fucking random bullshit like negotiations are in SMT.
Yeah.
Like, here's a bunch of money. All right, I'm just gonna take it and run.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And I think in the next Shin Megami Tensei game, I think they should have an animation of every single one of the monsters. You just do like the double thumbs up, and then they just slowly walk out of the like float out of the battle.
You mean the double deuce?
Yeah, the
double bird.
Oh yeah, I used a double thumbs up.
Oh, double thumbs. Did I say double thumbs
Yeah.
up? I did double middle fingers. Double thumbs up is in Australia.
Different.
In Australia,
like
the double thumbs up
That
would
is
be.
true. That's in other cultures.
That's
I
a
think of that
shitload of
sometimes when
countries.
I like, when my kids do the thumbs up, I'm just like, tee.
Man, that's a shitload of countries where this is basically this.
Yeah.
But this is still universally fuck you.
The middle finger?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can still do.
I'm gesticulating without saying what I'm doing because audio.
And then there's the
two fingers.
There's the victory sign, yeah.
Yeah.
Reverse victory sign.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And then there's the this thing.
The
chin flicking thing.
The chin flicking.
That's mainly an Italian thing.
And then like the arm. How would you describe? So it's just like the one arm.
The up yours.
Oh yeah, up yours. Putting your forearms together violently.
Yeah.
Like which in Japan, that's a sign of strength. That's saying like I'm strong.
Yeah, well, that does look like you're.
I'm strong.
Well, they call that's like more of like that's like the Rosie the Riveter kind of gesture.
Okay, so they're doing that, but they're doing it towards the person.
Yeah.
So basically, if you like put your hand.
I think the term for that is polishing the bicep.
Oh yeah, you do that.
Like,
but when Japan, they do it towards the person they're talking to, so it looks like they're doing the up yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they really just want to fight you.
Cultural differences.
Anyway, Undertale.
Undertale. God damn it, this game is fucking amazing. Shit.
Great.
I mean, without
the
like
spittle off your mouth.
I just recommend that people just go into it just completely blind, like as blind as you can possibly do.
That's what a lot of other people have said.
Because it's like if you go on fucking Tumblr right now, you're gonna have the entire game spoiled for you.
Because I don't really go on Tumblr.
Because like half the fan art for this game is just fucking like.
It's just fucking. You just.
No, it's like just a bunch of like random shit that happens after the story of the game.
Oh, okay.
Like, what if this happened, or what if this happened? Like, everyone has, like, these billion different, like, fan fiction AUs in their head. And it seems like the game was kind of geared towards inspiring that in people, for better or worse.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think even Jonan Vasquez, at one point when he was asked about, like, what he thought about so many people doing, like, fan art and fan fictions of, like, Invader Zim and, like, all this other stuff. And he said, and he's very laid back about that kind of thing. And he had said that, like, if I can inspire people to, like, to write or to draw or something like that. He's like that's great.
Yeah.
So that and
Yeah, Toby Fox I think is along the same lines.
Yeah.
He's come out and said on Twitter because I mean the characters are charming as fuck, and I think it does kind of have a similar overlap in audiences that Homestuck does.
Oh, yeah.
And he's come out and said on Twitter like, yeah, I hope the Undertale fandom kind of dies like a slow, graceful death, as opposed to just running the whole thing to the fucking ground.
Like Homestuck.
He didn't specifically point out Homestuck, but I'm pretty sure he meant Homestuck.
Well, yeah, it's especially if you're not, you can't just come on and say it's something that you worked on, and you'd be like, oh, that other piece of shit that I worked on.
But yeah, I mean, it's the writing is fucking great.
Yeah.
The characters are enduring as all hell. There are these two skeleton brothers in this game that the internet has fallen in love with.
Mm-hmm.
One is named Sans, the other is Papyrus.
Mm-hmm.
They both, all their dialogue is in their respective font right there. The two most hated fonts on the internet.
Yeah.
And despite that, they're two of my favorite characters of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's one of those weird marriages of like really good writing, really good storytelling chops, and actually really fun gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that sounds
the
like a winner.
The battle system is one of the best. One of the best I've played. It's just very inventive, taking two very disparate things and combining together in a way that actually works.
Cool. We'll definitely check that out at some point. I probably won't get to it anytime soon.
It's a fairly short game. I mean, you've already put in like 10 hours into Fallout 4, and I think you can get the true ending to the game in like 10 or 12. And that was me dicking around and like going and making Hot Pockets.
In game?
Not in game.
In game Hot Pockets?
Not in game Hot Pockets.
Oh, okay.
That's a feature in that game.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, if you should probably be wrapping this up.
Yeah, we should be wrapping this up because someone has to go work at the record store.
Yeah.
God, Aaron.
How dare I have started a business?
How dare you
live with the American dream?
Yeah, how dare you live out your hopes and dreams? Just suffer like the rest of us do.
Well, I mean, if you guys want to continue talking about, whatever video games, then you just lock up behind yourselves and, let the dog out. And
I think if I go on and on about like Undertale, like I'm gonna get in like major story spoiler territories.
Yeah.
I'm trying to sell up this game while being as vague as possible, even though the internet probably already knows everything about this game.
Whatever. Yeah. Once again, it's kind of interesting. I think Tom and I brought this up last podcast. Which said like last podcast we barely talked about video games, and that was the one that
I wasn't there.
That you weren't there for.
Yeah,
that was pretty great.
We apologize for that.
Yeah,
that's all right.
We almost talked entirely about music and movies.
Yeah. It's shit.
And we talked a little bit about games at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
What?
I remember because we talked about the fucking nightmare in the last one.
Yeah.
Guess what I experienced?
A
couple weeks ago.
Oh, so you actually got
I had fucking sleep paralysis. You asshole.
Wow.
I'm gonna blame you.
Yeah. It's
contagious.
It's a little contagious. Yeah. A little contagious. A little bit. But well then, did you see any weird shit?
No.
Okay.
You just couldn't.
No, I knew what was going on. I was like, crap. Time to try wiggling my toes. Oh, hey, that worked.
Yeah. Wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers.
Wow. Never had that happen. I hope.
And now you're gonna be next.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of it actually just might be like the worrying about getting it so much that you get it.
Yeah. Well, I forgot it was a thing until just now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I think.
God,
it's about time we.
It's time to send everybody home.
But the next time we get together, I'm sure the Kickstarter for MST3K will be funded.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm sure we will have other things to talk about in that vein. And I hope everyone has a lovely week.
Yeah, totally.
Drive safe. Don't get into cars with strangers.
Unless they have really good, like, name brand candy.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Like,
by the way, kids, don't eat off the floor.
Good times.
All right.
All right. I love you all.
I love every single one of you, and have a great day.
I love you with all my heart.
Boners.